All right, welcome to another podcast. I am Zach,
I'm April.
and today we are going to talk about a subject that my wife has been wanting to talk about, and is
Long time.
Venezuela.
Venezuela.
And so we're hearing a lot of different things going on in Venezuela. There's like a few different subjects we could probably hit. We're going to focus on one, but you can see like there's the presidential thing that's going on there, where it looks like someone else probably won the presidential race, but
We can go into that later because I've looked at that stuff
Maduro is not leaving
Nope.
and is claiming that he won.
too. Yep. Even though he burnt ballots.
Yeah, and then we've got smaller boats that the United States keeps blowing up because they are drug boats. And then we got this tanker that has recently happened where we took over
is
a
what I'm
tanker,
into.
which seems a little strange. I don't know if there's been a time, that I remember where we took someone's tanker. So I think that's where we want to focus this. But as you can see, I think what's important is our hemisphere, the Western Hemisphere, is something that the United States has always had control over. And in certain ways, obviously, but with Venezuela acting in different ways, it's really been highlighted with the Trump administration. So we're going to talk about that and see what you guys think. So April, why don't you get us jump started here?
So this is something I've been wanting to talk about for a while, but I've had to do some research and just kind of digging because the original, anyway, I think this has been largely glossed over and kind of overlooked because of the whole Turning Point USA and Candace Owens stuff is kind of the drama on the right now and stuff I was kind of into for a minute, but now I'm kind of over it. And I really want to start focusing more on what is happening in the rest of the world. And right now, a big key player is what's going on in Venezuela. This tanker that was just recently taken over. I started to read like the mainstream media and what they were saying, and they were really just kind of glossing over it. And I started to kind of read between the lines, and they're like, yeah, this tanker was just headed to Venezuela or was headed to Cuba to give them oil. But as I read, they were like, oh, but it made these little stops at these little islands. And I'm like, well, that sounds shady. So I started looking more, and with the help of Grok, I think I found it. So we're going to kind of explain what's going on with the tanker and why it was taken over. It was not just to take their oil and take their resources. This tanker is shady. It was doing shady offloading, but we'll start with where it would happen. So Venezuela's tanker was originally, it went through several different names before it was sanctioned it was sanctioned when it was named the Skipper, or it was sanctioned when it was named the Adisa?
Adisa, I think.
Adisa. And they changed it. Well, they sanctioned it in 2022, and they changed it to the Skipper. And these tanker ships...
The tanker is like 20 years old, and it was the biggest tanker of its time when it was built. And it was actually called the Toyo. I think it came out of Japan. Mm-hmm. And then it was the Adisa, and now it's changed to the Skipper. And they do these changes on purpose, right?
Yeah, they do it to hide what it's doing to where it's actually taking this oil. So they switch ownerships, they switch names all the time. It's how they hide what they're doing. So anyway, the name was changed from the Adisa to the Skipper to hide its shady offloading. And this happened in 2022. The U.S. Treasury sanctioned it for transporting Iranian oil on behalf of the IRGC. And what is the IRGC, babe?
It is the Armed Forces of Iran.
Correct.
And I think it's it's the armed forces that controls all the branches of Iran. They have a lot of power.
Including terrorist group. What one?
Hezbollah.
So they're funding Hezbollah with this oil. That's pretty much, long story short with that, it's going to Hezbollah.
Yeah, and I'm sure most people know this, but just to clarify, a tanker is something that carries crude oil.
It's a huge transporting ship.
Yeah, has routes, and it seems like, from what I've read, the more routes it has is usually the shadier it can be, because it's trying to hide what it's actually doing.
Absolutely.
They'll even sell under different flags, under different countries.
They'll put fake flags. We'll get into that.
To try to...
Yeah.
Okay.
So it loads Iranian oil, and you say this island better than I do. Karg
Island. Kharg.
It's Karg Island. It's Iranian. It's an Iranian port. So they pick up Iranian oil from here, and it goes to the UAE. What's the UAE?
The United Arab Emirates.
Okay. Then it goes, then it's blended with other oils, so it looks like it's not even from Karg Island.
Right.
And it's blended with other oils, so it kind of takes that Iranian sticker and just kind of pastes over it, so
Yeah.
you can't see it anymore on shipping
hard,
records.
hard to trace it because different locations have different markers of that type of oil. So if they blend it, they can't.
They
you know,
can't,
they
yeah.
don't. They don't know where it really comes from, or they're like, oh, well, this has got the Venezuelan marker on it, so it should be fine. Or this has got wherever the United States oil.
Right. And this is just one route this is the route it was caught doing, but they do these all the time with all these tankers.
Well,
and
was it caught with an Iranian route or a Cuban route?
it was going to Cuba. That's the thing. They mix all these things up so it's hard to track. But you can't get that past the US because we have satellites. We have satellites that watch you every day. Every day they watch you. And that's how we caught him. We caught him with satellites and shipping records and a whole bunch of other things. And our intelligence agencies are pretty great about, catching people.
It's pretty amazing. So, I looked at the distance from like Venezuela to Florida is around 2,000 miles, and it's just open sea, right? And if they're able to find these little semi-submerged boats that are carrying drugs, they can find a football field sized tanker pretty simple.
Yeah, no, our technology is pretty amazing, and this is just what we know, what we have. This isn't what they're telling you. This isn't everything we have. They definitely keep things in what's the word I'm looking for? I'm losing my mind.
It's a secret, or it's
top secret.
Top secret.
Top secret.
Yeah.
Anyway, where was I? So they look at they blend it with other oils. Then they give it a certificate from a non-Iranian country. That's the key point right there. They take it and they sticker over. They paste over that sticker saying it was from Karg Island or from Iran. It's Iranian oil. So they completely black that out. Then the ship leaves under a false flag, a fake flag.
So then, like from a different country.
From a completely different country.
Yeah.
All right. And then it meets another transfer, like in Singapore, to change cargo.
It meets another tanker.
It
actually
another
changes tankers.
Changes tankers completely. And that's how they do these things. They muddy it up with so many stops, with so many different certificates. So it's just really hard to track. And it took the U.S. a long time to find this. So anyway, and then the second tanker leaves with clear paperwork.
But they've known about this from 2022.
Yes.
Just no one's done anything except Trump.
Yeah, they haven't done anything about it because remember, it was sanctioned in 2022, but they didn't. I think it was probably because they just didn't have all the evidence they could to take it. Because Venezuela is like saying, oh, it's an act of piracy, or what did they use? It was act of piracy or maritime terrorism. That's what they're calling it.
Okay.
But Trump has the receipts. And here's my janky little paper where I took all my notes. Trump has the receipts. Okay. So, and then the second tanker leaves with clear papers. And then, do you want to take it from here? Because I'm getting really excited.
Well, yeah. So the second tanker has the clean papers and docks at China, right?
Yes.
So it goes to China. China buys it for hard cash. So they get money. And then that is laundered at shell countries, for example, at Lebanon, Dubai, countries like that. The money then goes into Hezbollah's pockets. So now it's Hezbollah's. And then Hezbollah uses that to fund, places like Beirut where they store rockets and pay for tunnel networks. These tunnels go all the way to what we call, it's the Israel border, but it's called the Blue Line. And then it's used for terrorism.
Yeah.
And there's we found this tanker, we took this tanker, but there is like 8 other tankers that they have said that's doing the exact same thing and making terrorist groups and millions and billions of money.
8 that we know of. And Hezbollah, I don't know if people understand how sophisticated this terrorist group is. I mean, they have tunnels all under Gaza. And I'm not sure if it's anywhere else, but, all the way up to the Blue Line. So, yeah, I mean, I think I give props to the administration in finding all this, and they found it all through, like I said, satellite imaging, shipping records, and really just stalking these guys on what they're doing. And like you said, they have at least eight. That's just the ones that they're letting us know about. So I think the administration is going to be really on this and cracking down on Hezbollah's funding And because that's how you stop a terrorist group. That's how you stop these groups is you attack their funding. So, and it eventually just dissipates them in that way. So I think they're doing an amazing job.
One of the reasons why the United States has been so protected is because we are in a separate hemisphere where some of this stuff is going on. But when it comes to our hemisphere, that's where Trump is saying, no, 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 this isn't going to happen. And, you know, justify taking it over when you're dealing with, when you're funding, essentially it's funding terrorist groups. I mean, that's what you're doing. So, or that's what they're doing. So us taking the tanker over, because at first when I heard these things, I was like, well, what in that world is going on? Why would we take a tanker? Seems a little weird or shady. But then as you dig into it, you find out, okay, these are the details, and we're following the money at this point. And this is
following the money, shipping records. And they name dropped some people too. Like this is mainly like facilitated by one guy. Well, there's never one guy. It's always several, but I don't remember his name. Do you remember his name?
I don't. It's anyway, a Russian name, I think, and it's a long name.
Sorry, we should have wrote it down, but
I wouldn't have been able to say it if, we wrote it down.
Not only that, they always have like 5 names. I'm like, just use one, man. But that's how they get you. They use a million names, so you don't know who they are.
All right. Well, that's kind of the story of what's going on. And like we said, there's different routes. You'll see routes from Venezuela to Cuba. But now these tankers that they're watching has all went back to the shore of Venezuela.
They're all docked. They're not moving.
And they're docked and they're not leaving. So what we did worked. And it's good that we're showing power here in the Western Hemisphere, saying this is not going to happen on our side of the world. And that's it. We'll see what happens further with Venezuela. But I appreciate you guys tuning into this podcast. Thanks, and have a good day.